This is Alexis coming at you from the time machine. Kaylee and I are usually pretty good about offering trigger warnings at the beginning of our episodes, but we kind of forgot it this time. This episode discusses eating disorders, kind of minimally, but nonetheless it's still there, and so we want to let everyone know. In this particular 1-hour comedy, the person's eating disorder actually kind of helped her, but we know that's not the case in most situations. So if you are suffering from some sort of eating disorder, please reach out for help. NationalEatingDisorders.org is a great website to go to where you can find resources, live chat, and look for additional help. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about when I say that eating disorders are not good. Not just for you, but for everyone around you as well. Please stay safe, and please enjoy To the Blueberry. I cannot believe it. We are almost to the end of season 2, Kaylee.
This is the penultimate episode. We're so close.
What does penultimate mean? I'm lost.
It's like second to last in like a big event type of way.
Hey, I'm learning more stuff. Stanchions and penultimate and stuff like that. I'm digging it.
Ooh, excited for this one too. Definitely one of my faves. Lots of great little pop culture-y things and some not mentioned pop culture-y things we can talk about.
Yes. It is like so perfect. Everything about this episode is great. I love the Henry-Sean dynamic in this episode, as I do in every episode. I love Gus in this episode because he's like the anti-Gus, which, again, we'll get to. And there are shirts. There are shirts, Kaylee.
I have so many little weird and not shirt-related or pattern-related. All I put down was Paisley at one point.
Oh, yes. Yes, there was lots of that on Gus.
Okay, everything is terrible as far as the fashion goes in this episode. But my little Gus like things I've picked up on, the more I think about this episode, the more stuff I'm just like, okay. Oh, I can't wait.
Yes.
I'm so excited. But
because we are coming to the end of our season 2, it is worth pointing out, everyone, that we are doing a very special holiday episode close to the Christmas holiday for anybody who is happy to listen to maybe the inner workings of To the Blueberry. And then we're going to take a short break, as we did at the end of season 1, to regroup and replan, and then we should be coming back with season 3 in the new year, hopefully with more guest stars.
Yeah. Yeah, this one flew by. We didn't get any of our guest stars back. It was too fast.
Yeah, everything just kind of went. Although, I don't know who plays Ciao in this episode, but I know her as a character actress.
Yes, same. I was going to say Saving Silverman.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That's exactly who that is. That's beautiful, Kay. That's beautiful. But yeah, so very excited to get moving. Should we start the show?
Let's do it. It's showtime.
This is
To the Blueberry!
I am Alexis, and I am a real-life Gus.
I'm Kaylee, and I am a real-life Sean.
And we are a real best friend duo who loves the show Psych, and decided to start a podcast about Psych. So we had a good reason to talk to each other once a week, as well as a great reason to rewatch the episodes of Psych. And I can't be more excited about it.
Yes, it's worked out beautifully.
This week is season 2, episode 15, Black and Tan, A Crime of Passion.
Fashion.
Okay, so I did something this week that maybe was a mistake that I'm noticing at the very beginning here, which was typing my notes.
Oh.
And so I think I probably wrote fashion and spelled it incorrectly, and autocorrect fixed it.
Oh, it got you.
So let's see how today goes, my friends. So let's try that again. Today's episode is season 2, episode 15, Black and Tan, A Crime of Fashion.
And we start off in 1987.
Little baby Sean is not good at sneaking. This is the third time that he has failed to sneak past Henry.
Henry does not even look up from his newspaper. I just wrote sneak, sneak, caught. Like
I wrote sneaky Sean.
And what happened to that snazzy sweater vest that your mom just had you in for picture day, baby Sean?
It wasn't working for us. We chose the Knight Rider t-shirt instead. Mom loves Kit. Right off the bat.
Henry's Henry's like, so how do detectives tell when a suspect is lying?
It sounds like that.
I didn't appreciate that until the second viewing. Like, it went so fast, he got so quiet when he said it. I loved it so much. But he just, like, turns around and goes upstairs without another word. No fight.
Henry not only sent him to change, but said, I want you to look your best. Pictures last forever.
Oh, snap. Lead in to...
Just for the record, pictures don't last forever. They're very easy to tear up, cut up, throw away, or burn.
Once it's digital, it's a little harder to erase completely.
That's true, but it was 1987.
That's true.
We are in present day, though. You're right. And the scene opens on Sean in these oh-so-snazzy shoes.
They're like white and black snake print, which I vibe with. And we get more on those later, so pin.
Gus and Sean are doing a little walk and talk. And
I wrote WTT with Gus.
Yes. Gus is trying to figure out, like, what's going on, because Gus thinks they're headed to a case. There's a question about, like, is there a snowman missing?
Of course there's a snowman missing.
But we're not on that case.
Gus says, I am not working on my birthday, Sean. Okay, there's a lot of really fast back and forth here. I just wrote banter.
Okay. All I wrote is where they're going is a surprise to Gus, and it happens to be a launch party for Chow, which is a clothing line that they're going to try to get into.
Okay, and so here's my first little aside. It's the launch party for the new fall line that is debuting this coming week. And I got confused. I was like, where are we in the year? When is Gus's birthday? What is happening? Okay, so Fashion Week, when it happens in the big four, like London, Milan, Paris, New York, it's always like debuting like the new lines and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it's usually in the very beginning of the year, so it's mostly in February.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sometimes it can like hedge into January, hedge into March, depending on like the locale and like the order that it happens. So my best guess is that Gus is a February Aquarius. Maybe a Pisces.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm leaning towards Aquarius, but I'm really confused. And that got me thinking, are we going to find out when Sean's B-Day is? I don't remember.
I don't know.
But I always kind of thought maybe he'd be like a Sagittarius because they're known for being flaky. But I've had a lot of weird jobs too, Sean. So...
They go up to the front of the line. They walk straight up, and Gus is super pumped that they are going to get into this big party. And the bouncer just stops them. He's like,
Whoa. This is very exclusive. I'm pretty sure you're in the wrong line.
No, we're on the list. Look for black and tan.
Black and tan?
We're retired. Just check your list.
Holy crap. They're on here. It's you.
The bouncer calls Sean tan, and Sean immediately goes, I can't believe you made that assumption. You should be ashamed of yourself and your family.
I love that so much. And Gus is... So, I wrote, from this point on, we're getting smooth Gus for this entire episode.
Till the very end.
All the, like, nose thumbing and, like hip sniffing. I don't know what that is, but it's like an affectation.
We go inside with the boys, and Gus is just like, how did you figure that out? And Sean said, Chel's number was in the phone book. I don't want to hear again that my Filipino accent doesn't work magic.
Ooh. Gus is looking around, and he's like, this is the most thoughtful gift I've ever been given. And I was just like, it's kind of ew. Like... But you know why he's enjoying being there.
Yeah, I think that tracks for Gus, though. Like, for smooth Gus.
Okay. But, like, for how in love with food our boys are, this is the wrong event. Like, I would be disappointed, personally.
Yes. I don't mind going to a party where I'm going to drink, but I need food with my drink.
1000%.
That's where I'm at.
Oh, yeah.
Gus sees Belinda Desunovich.
Ooh. Okay. The way I abbreviated names in this, it's going to keep coming up. So I just kept calling her Burl. because we're Berlinda. But he says it's the girl from the floppy cakes ad.
Oh, she's the one who says gooey.
That's from a different ad, some old one. I don't think I wrote down what that one is. But he's like, yeah, she was the gooey girl. And not only does Gus know her, he knows her life story, Sean.
Because he's number 1 on the interest list for her fan club.
She's putting one together. So Sean's like, dude, let me go talk you up. I'll be your wingman.
No, Gus is not having it. He said, don't worry, I got this. Should I pull out the cheetah?
That is the worst name for a pickup move ever. And then this is the first time we get this recurring thing. It's the rule. And I want to know your thoughts on this. Because he says, you have to treat a woman like a person, and then a princess, and then a Greek goddess, and then a person again. What do you think that means? What does it mean to you?
I guess treat her like a person, to me, would mean, like, remember that she's human. Remember that she makes mistakes. Remember that she's not perfect.
And, like, for me, I was like, okay, so you may approach.
Yes.
And then for princess.
Like, I don't know, bowing to her and crap. I don't know. Giving her a tiara. That would be very important to me.
Giving her a tiara. I wrote, she's in charge.
Okay.
And for Greek goddess.
She can murder you.
Yes, I said she could destroy you. Like, tread lightly. And then a person again.
She's human.
You could possibly build a relationship with the common ground that you found in step 1 of treating her like a person.
Kaylee, you thought way more into that than I did. Because what I took away from
advice.
That, it is, but the very next line that he said is, besides, I think Operation Colonel Sugar Lemons is a much better move for a place like this. What is Operation Colonel Sugar Lemons, Kaylee? I want to know so badly.
I didn't even postulate a theory on that. I was just like, the rule, I understand. The move, I couldn't begin to guess.
Operation Colonel Sugar Lemons. I need to know.
It would be much more appropriate for this venue? What does that mean? Oh, okay, so Gus walks over all ready to approach, right? But then he ends up waiting in line to talk to her.
By all the other models who are going after Belinda.
So then a model walks by, brushes past Sean. She kind of gives him a look, no?
She does, which I don't understand.
I don't either, because it never comes up again.
Nope.
But she's acting like a normal human at a party at this point. We see her more later.
But Sean clocks that Ciao is like throwing her green smoothie thing at the ground because she's upset about it. And then he sees something that's going on with her hand.
Yeah, all we get is the Psych zero in on her fingers.
Yeah.
It's not clear what that is at that point.
But our soon-to-be very dead guy walks on the stage named...
The announcer says, it is Gregor Uvestib. I say his name like that.
Uvestib.
Uvestib. It's U... Okay, the way it spelled it on my captions was U-W-E, Uwe, S-T-E-E-B, and I just wrote Stieb.
Oh my gosh. The funeral scene makes so much sense now.
Uvestib.
Oh. We will get to the funeral scene in a moment. Just remind me that. Okay. So he walks up on the stage, and the microphone stand is way too low for this super tall guy. And he just kind of makes this face and looks around like, I'm too good for this. And then, in fact, says, I'm too good for this, in saying, after I do all the design work myself, I enjoy doing menial tasks.
Little menial labor.
Starts adjusting the microphone stand, and immediately he's electrocuted.
Oh, yeah.
He's down. Sean looks at Gus and said, are you absolutely sure you don't want to work tonight? And that's our opening credits.
Opening credits. Okay, so bear with me on this next part, because when we open back up, our boys are in a booth, and they're being addressed by two douchebags. Now...
I called them male models, but okay.
Douchebag number 1. You model.
Is that Tank Top?
Tank Top.
Yeah.
We can call him Tank Top. He's douche number 1 for me. And Sean's like, excuse you. You don't believe that we can blue steel it up on occasion? Which is Zoolander.
Which
pop
is this
reference.
entire episode.
And then the blonde douche is like, Your friend, yeah. His features are on fleek, basically. I didn't write down his exact
His features are immaculate, he said.
And Gus's, like, haughty thing.
But you, not so much.
And then Gus helpfully says he was a foot model. And then douche number one is like, oh, that makes total sense. Sean is beside himself.
He is trying to come back from it. It's like, I also did some ankle stuff, and I did some hand modeling, too.
Do you remember this? In insurance commercials, and he does, like, the Allstate hands.
Gus cannot stop looking at Belinda. He wants that girl, and he's trying to figure out how he's going to make his next move on her.
I love that you call her Belinda, because I wrote Burlinda and call her Burl the whole rest of this time.
My caption said Blainda, Belinda.
Mine definitely did not. That's hilarious. Burlinda for me.
Okay, well, I guess I've heard it both ways, so it's okay.
Oh, the douchebags go to the bathroom together, and
Sean starts questioning the microphone stand.
Yeah, he wants to solve this problem, which is where I went, I am Sean. I hate an unsolved mystery. Hate it. Of course he's going to be hyper-focused.
But not Gus. Do you see the clock, Sean?
Yeah, what does the clock say?
Enter Lassiter and Juliet. Lassiter is not surprised, or is surprised to see Sean and Gus there, because he said, why am I surprised to see you guys here? Because they just show up where murders happen.
He quickly gives up and, like, sits in the booth with them, and he's like, all right, what do you have?
And then he makes some comments that are, long and short of it, I think everyone here is too dumb to kill Gregor. So I think it was something else. Something else was going on. And Sean was like, well, we're not available tonight, but we're free tomorrow. Right after Gus stomps on his foot and is like, we're not taking this case.
So, one thing I noticed, starting here in her first scene, is that Juliet doesn't say a ton in this episode.
True.
She makes a lot of faces and reacts to stuff. She's really doing, like, the physical work of it all and posing with, like, a face that says, what's going on here?
I also enjoyed that Juliet leans into her thirsty during this episode. I don't know if she's leaning into her thirsty or if she's just a thirst trap, but she does it.
Oh, yes. There is a thirst trap of it all. Okay, I was very confused. I was like, who is she thirsting after in this episode?
A pair of shoes, I guess. They have to go to Henry's to return Henry's shoes that were Sean's snazzy shoes from earlier because he
calls
wants
them half boots.
Half boots. Henry wanted them back no later than 8 a.m. tomorrow, and Sean plans to sleep until noon tomorrow, especially after we howl all night.
So they creep up, and they're like, what, do you hear that? Who's in? There's somebody in there.
Sean is super confused.
It's 10:43 p.m. He's in at least 2 hours in bed by now.
Gus thinks it's a woman.
Don't be ridiculous.
So they knock.
They don't knock. Somebody goes, no, there is somebody here, and opens the door on them while they're still debating.
Oh.
And it's Chief.
Which is awkward.
Sean gets so flustered and upset and a little bit scared.
I didn't see anything. I just wanted to return the boots.
I'm here to introduce my friend Susan. It was real awkward because also she's married. Like, and she could hurt him. Like, back to treating a woman like a Greek goddess.
This is true.
Temperamental and dangerous. Yes, so we meet Susan.
Who Chief Vic is trying to set up with Henry.
Ooh, and then Chief Vic gets a call from Jules.
And through their weirdly one-sided phone conversation, which, you have to repeat everything that the person says to you on a television show, we find out that the electrical cables to the mic stand had been tampered with. And Sean and Gus hear it. And Sean just makes this face like, ooh, I knew there was something going on. And Gus said, I will kill you, Sean.
So, Chief's heading out immediately to go to the station. I just wrote station o'clock. And then Henry comes back. And Sue is introducing herself, saying, you can call me Sue. At the office, they call me Sue B. But that's not really an issue here since there's only one of me at this location. And then she's drinking her wine.
Henry asks for his help, trying to understand how to deal with this woman because he hasn't dated in a long time. And he kind of throws the, like, how often do I help you on your silly little cases? I just need your help with this one thing back in Sean's face.
While they're gone, Gus is awkward and is like, you hear about Pluto? That's messed up, right? And she quickly agrees and then pours herself more wine.
Have you heard about Pluto?
I love that we got it in this episode. This episode has everything.
Except for I've heard it both ways.
Have we gotten like a true one?
I've seen it both ways, yeah. Okay.
We're still really waiting.
We're in the kitchen with Sean and Henry, and Henry's like idea of hors d'oeuvres are cheese cubes and sliced up hot dogs. And
were they like the hickory wieners? What are these called?
They sure look like chopped up hot dogs to me.
Oh, I wasn't looking that hard. I was not looking that hard. Oh, sorry. Something just occurred to me.
Well,
I feel like Sean.
I was certain that those cheese cubes were going to be diced pineapple.
They should have been.
But they refer to them as cheese cubes. And Henry's upset because he cut those cheese cubes himself and she hasn't even eaten one.
Sean basically says, I literally can't opinion. And runs away because he cannot handle it.
Well, Henry called Susan nondescript. That was his kind of definition of her.
He says, is she maybe a little, what do you call it, nondescript? And Sean says, I haven't heard a woman referred to that way unless she was a robbery suspect.
The boys leave. Nice little walk and talk. And Gus thinks that a nice lady would be good for Henry and could help him relax a little bit.
Yeah, so maybe Sean should just get over it.
And Sean is like, nope. Chief Vic left in a hurry, didn't she? There's only 73 minutes left in your birthday. Gus is...
actually 72. But Gus wins this fight. Okay, because it is still his birthday, and he gets to make the rules, Sean.
And he said very, very clearly from the beginning that he was not working on his birthday. So.
We get it, Gus.
They do, I don't know, like a 13-year-old birthday thing where they go to an arcade and then they eat food.
There's music playing in the background. It's
the
literally
music
Girl
cues.
from Impanina.
I love the music cues in this episode so much.
Oh,
so
we've got some big ones.
We see them playing games, we see them eating food, and then we cut to the clock. We cut to the Santa Barbara Police Department. These are kind of like rapid fire back and forth. Lassiter and Juliet say, let's split everybody up that was at the club, and we'll put them in 2 separate interrogation rooms, and we'll tag team them.
There are literally models littering the precinct at this point.
They go back to the arcade where Sean and Gus are playing air hockey. And when I say Sean and Gus are playing air hockey, I mean Gus is playing air hockey really, really hard, and Sean is talking about the case.
Except when Gus finally wins, he's like, yeah, 6-5, which means Sean not playing, he was holding his own. And then another loud clock.
Back to the Santa Barbara Police Department, and Lassiter and Juliet are interrogating
the
model...
douche.
Right, model number 1, whose name is like Hassenfeffer, which we get in like the last scene, yeah.
Which is, Laverne and Shirley.
How is Hassenfeffer a Laverne and Shirley reference?
In the beginning of the show, how it starts, they're walking down the street doing a thing, and they go, Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Hassenpfeffer Incorporated. Do.
Okay. I got you.
I'm stupid, sorry.
I like that. Hassenpfeffer is like, I don't remember where I was this afternoon. It was yellow and boring. Just write down that it was lame.
Juliet really tries to help him out. Really tries. Like, was it maybe a restaurant? You wouldn't know, because apparently you don't eat at restaurants, because, like, he doesn't know.
Nope.
And this
it was lame.
It was lame. This unawareness trope, this stupid, beautiful person trope, this guy's actually frightening to look at. Like something Victor Frankenstein or Dr. Frankenfurter might have made.
Dr. Frankenfurter. Yeah.
Would have made him.
Yeah, for sure.
Terrifying.
But he does make fun of Lassiter's jacket, which is funny.
Well, he says, I like your jacket. He's like, really? He goes, yeah, somewhere a transient is shivering in the night. Oh, Lassiter wants to throw down so bad.
But we missed the throwdown because we cut back to the arcade where Sean and Gus are playing Dance Dance Revolution.
I wrote down DDR.
And it slowly but surely clicks to midnight. And Gus said, "Fine, tell me what you got."
Then we're back to SBPD again.
Enter Sean and Gus.
They haven't made much headway. Apparently one of the models couldn't even spell his own name.
One of them could not confirm the correct spelling of their own name.
And Sean says, "Yes, that's why I'd like to offer our services."
Lassiter, without missing a single beat, said, "I'd rather shower with a bear." The next line in my notes say, "Don't you have a coffee mug that says that, Kay?" And Kaylee is holding up her coffee mug that says that.
And on the other side of this mug is a beautiful picture of Lassiter. He's got really short hair in this picture, but I'll take it.
Ah, that is such a funny mug. I'd rather shower with a bear. I don't think Lassiter ever uses that line again. But
he does I'd rathers, but
yeah,
he doesn't use that one.
That just became quintessential. Like, that became Lassiter's persona. I'd rather shower with a bear than deal with Sean and Gus. And
I'd rather marry a vegan, is one he says later.
Kaylee's over there like, "Yeah, Lassie."
I'll get you, boy.
Sean's like, "Let us talk to them. We are already on the inside. They'll talk to one of their own. They think we're models." And Gus goes, "They think I'm a model."
At one point, Sean lists up all the things that you have to be to, like, talk to them one-on-one. You know, like them. Shallow, judgmental, cruel, and gorgeous. Ah, that's what he says. Shallow, judgmental, cruel, and gorgeous.
Chief Vic's like, "You know what? If they think you're models, we're hiring them."
What?
And she's so quick. She's like, "Juliet, go get the suspects. Lassiter, change your tie. Let's go."
Yeah, she's like, "Change that chai right now." We get another walk and talk with Chief and Sean. And she's like, "Look, these are homegrown celebrities. The press is hot on this. They are sharpening their pencils. This is not the kind of press that the Santa Barbara Police Department or their interim chief." The next thing out of Chief's mouth is, "So tell me, has Henry mentioned my friend Sue?" And Sean's face is just, ugh. And that's how we leave them.
At the loft, which is across the street from Ciaobella and Gregor Ulvenstein's studio, there is a loft where apparently all of the models live. It's just convenient for them to
The prime
be there.
ones.
Yes.
Gus says, "Do you think it'll look like the loft from Head Over Heels?"
I don't know what Head Over Heels is.
Okay, so it's a Freddie Prinze Jr. movie. I'm pretty sure.
Ooh. Just a weird, nice little addition. There is a Tears for Fears song called Head Over Heels.
Oh, that's fun. But Sean says, "Gus, you're the only person who could confirm that." Because he's not watching that.
And
Remember?
the models all when it's a crime.
Oh, yeah!
That is a good movie. I do like a little FPJ, but I also like a little FPJ because he might show up in an episode later, but okay.
Shh. So, okay, we're getting this thing between Sean and Gus, but when they finally get in there, Ciaobella is holding court with the models, talking about, "My husband's funeral tomorrow is at 12:25. So get there by 1:15. And I need to approve all of your outfits."
Essentially, they want to continue the fall line. It's what Gregor would have wanted.
Oh yeah, the unveiling is on Wednesday.
And her little assistant, who we soon find out's name is Emily, is like, "Should I have them set up magnolias for the funeral?" And Ciaobella said, "Of course, it's not like they grow on trees."
For anyone not from a place where magnolias grow, they grow on trees. So this is where we want to say Ciaobella is played by the beautiful Amanda Detmer, who you may know from Saving Silverman, Final Destination #1, the OG. I forget what else, but she's a very recognizable character actress and she's very fun. So we love her in this.
She's got like some curly hair normally, but in this particular show, it is crimped.
It is, okay, so it's usually slicked back real tight from her face, and then it's just like up and crazy and doing stuff.
Oh, it's so great. I love that crimp. But okay. We end up upstairs with Sean and Gus, and Gus is talking about how he thinks the marriage between Gregor and Ciaobella was weird. It was like when Liza Minnelli married David Guest.
And Sean says, "Yeah, but they've been married a whole 8 years." He's like, I think there's more to these devious simpletons than they're letting on. So he wants to investigate the models that live in the loft. And Gus is like, you think I'm gonna have trouble, like, hanging out and fitting in? I have most of these clothes, Sean. I have this shirt and this shirt, most of these shirts. And these are my exact Kenneth Coles. And my picture of my mom parasailing in Montego Bay.
You moved me in.
Sean's like, help me set up this clapper.
Love a clapper.
I've never owned one, always wanted one.
I had one. I got one, I think, in late middle school. And it was in my bedroom at my parents' house until I left for college. And then I took it to college with me, but then, living in a residence hall, there was just too much noise, and so the clapper didn't work.
That tracks. I believe this about you. Gus is saying no to living here, to doing this. Berlinda comes in. Yes, I'm going to call her that.
That's okay.
And she goes, the shower's free. And then he's like, yes, Sean, yes.
Gus is in because of the model lady.
Ugh.
But the really mean model lady passes them again. Again, we'll find out later her name is Sigrid.
She didn't seem mean in the club. She seemed normal, and she was turning to give him a look. I didn't take it as a bitchy look, but it was really dark in there.
I took it as a mean mug. But I definitely took this one as a mean mug because she told them to go die.
Yeah, she literally just says die. And I'm like, oh, okay, is she the cool, edgy one? We find out later, no, she's just acting like a douche nozzle for other reasons.
But don't worry, because the male models, Hassenfeffer and Tank Top, want to do initiation, which is a pillow fight.
Blonde goes... I'm just going to call him Blonde because Hassenfeffer is too much for me.
That's okay.
Blonde goes, oh, come on, Black.
And he said it to Gus. And Gus smacks him so hard and knocks him across the room. Such a fake but wonderful manner.
Tank Top, runs to his side. And Sean's basically like...
It would really behoove you guys to get our names right in the future.
Yeah. I wrote Alias at one point, and now it's in my head.
I like it.
But he starts chatting up Berlinda, and he's like, catch us up on all the ins and outs, and oh my god, it's crazy that guy's dead, and wow, Chabella's kind of a pill, and tell us more.
Yeah, let's talk. We should play Truth or Dare. Gus, how is we should play Truth or Dare an appropriate thing to say to a woman you just met who's in her 30s? But... Belinda's like, oh no, we were going to go to a bar and do some O2.
How does one do oxygen?
There are oxygen bars, places you can go where they just pump extra oxygen into the air. Or you can hookah it. It's not a hookah because it's not water, but you can suck oxygen out of a pipe like you would a hookah.
What does oxygen do when it's extra?
I don't think anything. I don't think you get high off of it. I don't think you get low off of it. I think it's just... refreshing.
Okay. So Gus is super in. He's like, I could be ready in 3 minutes. Which is what I almost texted you when I thought I was going to be late.
Then the walk happens.
I can't. Okay, there was a short-lived show, a reality show called Beauty and the Geek.
Okay.
And this song was their theme song.
Ah. So the song is Pet Shop Boys Opportunities.
Ooh, let's make lots of money.
That makes sense for Beauty and the Geek, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a cool competition show.
And that was good song choice for a slow-mo walking scene.
Yeah, slow-mo, model strut, we go down the line. How is this alley that wide that they're all walking shoulder to shoulder?
But this music cue, Henry cuts in and screams hey, Sean, and... the sound is literally a turntable spinning.
Record scratch.
That you would it cuts it off. It's so perfect.
Everyone's a little bit freaked out because an old man just jumped out of the alley towards them.
How did you find me?
I was a police detective for over 11, or I don't know how many years. You're easy to find.
Sue called Henry twice in the last 2 days. And Henry is confused because the last time he did this whole dating thing, he pursued his woman, not the other way around.
And Sean does not want to talk about this, but he finally gives in and he's like, listen, women your age, they don't have time for the games. And Henry goes, she was wearing a cardigan. To which Sean says, she saw your house and didn't run away in horror.
Ride the upside.
He goes, now get away from me. I'm very proud of the fact that I've never been in therapy. To which I say, Sean needs therapy.
Yeah.
Like, don't be proud of it. You still need it.
Yeah. Yeah. He harbors a lot of anger for his father. And he has a, he's got his mom on this pedestal that she doesn't really deserve to be on. And he never really addresses that.
I don't think she doesn't deserve to be on it, but I think that he doesn't give Henry the credit and wrongfully vilifies Henry for the fact that his parents' marriage didn't work out. Like, it takes two to tango. I don't think it was all Henry's fault. Sean does, though. Right.
And Sean, I think, well, I guess we'll get to this when we finally meet Mom, but there's more to that story than just that. But the models leave Sean.
Including Gus.
And he calls Gus. Gus is in the limo. And Gus does this, like, perfect mimicking of Ben Stiller in Zoolander voice where he goes, some of the models are creeped. Oh, I don't know. I'm doing Hassenfeffer again. Some of the models are creeped out that you hang out with your dad all the time. Oh, we were afraid we were going to catch wrinkles.
His laugh.
Oh, so bad.
Okay, but also it's tooth forward. Like, when his mouth is open in that laugh, it's very front teeth forward.
Yeah. And then Gus hangs up on him.
Fully hangs up. So Sean's like, didn't even find out where they were going to, and he sees someone sneaking into the studio across the street.
Mm-hmm. And,
so we follow.
Like a smart person follows somebody sneaking into a building at 10 o'clock at night. That's a great idea.
After someone has been killed, possibly murdered.
By somebody who likely works in that studio, but okay.
He accidentally scares her. She drops all her sketches. It's all very cute. It's Emily.
And Emily said, oh, I know you, Black. You're the one that no one believes is a model.
Man, who's saying?
If it helps at all, I think you have very nice ankles.
She's the sweetest.
Yeah, there's this little flirt thing going on between Sean and Emily, and I don't know if it's really a flirt, like a romantic flirt, or if it's just Emily is very, very sweet, and Sean is just kind of mimicking that sweetness back to her.
Because it's the thing he does. He's very paying attention in the moment with people, and he learned that from Henry.
Right.
But, okay, so I got flirt vibes from them, but very soft flirt vibes. Not like banter, just like, I think you're very nice, and you think I'm very nice, and maybe we could have more moments next to each other. Like, it's very what I like.
Sean describes his ankle definition by saying, I play a lot of ping pong. That doesn't make any sense to me, but okay.
She says, will I see you tomorrow at the funeral service? And he's like, totally, yes. I mean, probably. I'll be there.
The first thing that happened was in Sean's like Psych universe is that he noticed that all of the designs that Emily had dropped all had her signature on them. And he was just like, these are really, really good. And she said, but I let Gregor and Chabella do all of the designing.
I haven't really shown these to anybody before.
I really have to get back to work. I'm past my lunch break.
It's 9 p.m., which also, I don't know if it's just what I learned in college, but 9 p.m.'s early to be going out. If you're like going out to party. Those models don't know how to party. Nah.
Sean leaves and calls Gus on his way back to the loft. Leaves him a message because Gus is ignoring his calls.
Straight to voicemail? That's what we're doing now?
I don't exactly remember everything he said, but it ends with, and don't be surprised if your pillow smells faintly like my butt. And then he lays down, lights out.
Okay, what is the first thing you thought when you heard him say that?
That he was gonna fart on his pillowcase?
The first thought I had was pink eye.
I just don't believe that that's true.
I do.
It's funny, but I don't believe it's true.
Okay, that's why every boy in middle school had pink eye with each other.
I'm not gonna... Well, hold on. Pink eye is usually a bacterial infection. No, it's usually a viral infection. And so it spreads just like the cold does. Through coughing and sneezing and rubbing your eye and then rubbing somebody else. That's how it spreads. So every dude in middle school getting pink eye was probably because they were like playing basketball together. But I just don't think that passing gas on somebody's pillowcase is going to give them pink eye. Also,
boys are gross.
That's true. Sean wakes up the next morning, walks downstairs. Everybody is awake, and everybody is ready to go. Sean goes, "What, did you guys wake up at dawn?"
"You couldn't give me a shake? We woke up 5 minutes ago," says the blonde douche.
Sean has complete bedhead look. He's in his jammies, his hair is all messed up. And Belinda tries to be nice to Sigrid and is like, "Hey, why don't you wait and we'll all go to the funeral together today?" And Sigrid's just like, "No."
I forget, I didn't write down what she said either.
Oh, I thought it was another typo. Here's what I read. "You call used monsters." And I was like, what the does that mean? And what it says is, "You calloused monster."
Oh, yes.
Sean and Gus have a little aside. Gus continues to be smooth/mean Gus.
Yeah, mean Gus. Also, Blonde Douche said that Sigrid is acting like a freak. Sean wants to know if Gus found anything since he flaked out on him. Is this where he says, "Since you flaked out on me for vacant head"?
I don't know. But that's
because
nice.
The more I think about that line, which happens at some point, the more I think that is a great villain nickname for Psych Man and Magic Head. It's like Gus's villain / kryptonite all in one.
Oh. Well, the one thing that Gus did find out while he was spending all the time with the models is that Ciao Bella has been grilling all of the models because she thinks that one of them has been having an affair with Gregor. And Sean's like, "All right, let's crash a funeral."
Well, he says, she's on a power trip. She's a monster. If she was having an affair, that's motive. She's sus. But Gus also found out a couple things about Berlinda. Like, she likes all things that look and smell like lavender. This comes up again. I want a pin in that.
We are at the funeral, and we're going through the last respects line with Belinda, Tank Top, Hassenfeffer. I think I keep changing his name, but I'm not sure.
I'm going to call him Blonde.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sean, Gus, and Sigrid. And they're all saying the weirdest things to the dead guy.
Okay. Starting with Berlinda, who says, "Ew, he's wearing Hugo Boss? What a sellout."
You guys can't see Kaylee flipping her hair, but it's good.
And then Tank Top, something about "you bald bastard."
It was me that peed in the hot tub, you bald. Was it that one?
Blonde says, "It was me that peed in the hot tub." And then he goes back to his cell phone conversation.
When Gus gets up, Gus said, "You reap what you sow, Uvensteed."
Yes.
But the captions did not come across like that. And so "you reap what you sow" did, but it came across as two words. Uwe Steed. EWE space STEAD. And so I was like, what the heck is an Uwe Steed?
So the way it spelled his name for me was UWE space STEE, B as in boy, which is why I'm like, Uwe Steed.
I got diddly squat then. But at least I know that it was Gregor that he was talking. So okay.
Yes.
You reap what you sow, Uvensteed. Remember that.
Sean is like, "You didn't know that guy. What is happening right now?"
Belinda's listening. I'm playing a part.
I'm in character. And he's like, gross. But then they look back.
I have to tell you that Belinda was the one who couldn't spell her own name. Apparently, though, it's because we don't know if her name's Berlinda or Belinda. So.
Yes! No, that makes total sense. I want to believe that this is meta, and they just, like, don't have her name spelled the same way anywhere. Because she couldn't confirm the spelling of her name. That's the mystique of it.
I love it.
We look back at the receiving line for the coffin? I don't know.
The last respects line, yeah.
Sure. And Sigrid is holding a folded up note like she's in middle school, and it's got hearts on it.
Sean goes, "That's a love note. That's a love note."
And then he does a happy dance because he knows who was having the affair with E15.
You can't dance at a funeral, Sean.
And then he's like, and you can't say anything. We need to get through this and keep my cover.
Belinda only dates models.
Exactly. Ugh, gross.
Sean's like, fine, I'm calling Juliet. And that's when we get the eulogy by Ciao Bella.
Jules and Lassiter show up and they witness this. Like, they're here just in time. And Ciao Bella doesn't want anyone to cry. And she looks pointedly and really meanly at Sigrid.
And she yells at Hassenfeffer for being on his phone.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
She's like, instead of crying, we should sing and talk and drink and dance. And then Hassenfeffer just, like, chugs his champagne.
It's like she's doing this nice eulogy.
Okay, so if you mute her, her face is terrifying and mean. But the things she's saying aren't.
At one point, she talked about something like a tie made out of pork belly.
The man who once thought that a belt with tiny bits of panther in it was a good idea.
Oh, I don't know where I got pork belly from.
I don't know.
I like pork belly, but okay.
So she goes to be like, Gregor, and then plants one on his corpse?
Not just a little, like, peck or anything. Like, full mouth to mouth.
And
but
then suddenly she
also
goes limp. Okay. Okay, as I can't with this scene, clearly. Okay, so as much as I love a Morticia and Gomez kind of love, my kind of love is more like two skeletons holding hands for all eternity, not kissing a dead body.
to death.
To death.
That's a whole thing. Well, yeah, because she dead. And Sean looked at Gus and said, I've changed my mind. It wasn't the wife.
Blonde douche takes a pic. When we open back up, we are at the SBPD and Sigrid is in interrogation.
Sigrid was like, I loved Gregor and he loved me.
She a mess.
Lassiter's like, well, he didn't leave his wife for you, so you're not good at sharing, and you killed them both for symmetry.
She's like, it wasn't like that. I'm a simp. Basically. Because she says, he said that comparing me to Ciao Bella was like comparing Cleopatra to Miss Cleo. Which I took as insulting to her at first, but I mean, it isn't the more I thought about it, because I think he was calling her Cleopatra. But yeah. He would fly off the handle anytime she even brought Ciao Bella up, and she wasn't allowed to drink out of the same glasses as her. She's like, so, like, it was frustrating, but I was like, glad to have even a little piece of him, and he's the only person who knew how to accentuate my shoulders to make my waist and hips look smaller. And I'm like, honey, he's not the only man who could have done that.
No. Sigrid drops kind of the bomb that Emily, their assistant, was the one who had the most to gain from the two of them dying. She took over full creative control of the Chow line whenever the two of them were gone, because she was third in line. She wasn't just their assistant. She was a vice president. And Lassiter was like, interesting. She failed to tell us that when we talked to her earlier.
Also, Sigrid says, is that the same suit that you were wearing? And she gets cut off because Lassiter's like, yes, I can get more than one wear out of a suit in the work week. And she's like,
it's the same tie.
And she's still all blubbery. He's so over it. He just ends the interrogation.
We end up back in, like, the main squad room, and Lassiter tells Sean and Gus to go away, and then sends Juliet to check out Emily, because something might be going on with Emily.
So at the studio, Em has made a bunch of changes. She's on a Bluetooth, and she's, like, yelling at people about animal testing and saying she'll pay the fee and she doesn't care. They don't need to blind a bunny to confirm that people shouldn't eat their clothing.
But she also stops a designer and said, we need to make these designs for real women who have curves.
So raise the waist, make it an A cut, and let's get to it.
And don't think I didn't notice your new haircut. It looks great.
She's beloved. People are so happy to be near her, and she's saying thank you to literally everyone.
There's like a sign that said like, "We love you, Emily," hanging up in the background.
Mm-hmm. So then
Juliet is trying to question her, but she is just moving.
Yeah.
She's a woman on the move.
Boom, 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 boom. So then a guy comes up. He's like, these shoes, this prototype is everything. Yas, queen.
I don't know how exactly it happened, but Emily was like, I think these would look good on you. And her helper pushes Juliet into a chair and puts these beautiful red heels onto Juliet.
They're like soft looking red peep toes, which I'm not even into peep toes, and these looked like they would be comfy.
They were on point. And everyone applauded for Juliet when she stood up in them. I think Juliet applauded for herself a little bit.
And then she's just like, okay, for real though, can I ask you my questions? My office or yours, I think she says.
Mm-hmm. Juliet pointed out that everybody loves her and she's only been there for 6 hours. She's making a ton of changes, and Emily agrees that, yes, she would be the one to benefit the most from both of them dying, but the changes that she's making are for good.
That's not an alibi, though.
And she doesn't have one because she spent every hour of every day with the two of them.
Yeah.
So Juliet's like, okay, fine. Let me walk around and talk to your other employees. And Emily's like, yes, of course, that's fine.
Like, she's being as helpful as possible, but she doesn't really have anything to, like, clear herself for Juliet.
And Juliet may or may not be trying to steal those red heels.
She has to be reminded that she has to take those red heels off. But then Emily says, you've got really nice lines. There's no real reason you can't dress to arrest, is there?
It's such a good line.
Really? Okay, so I do want to say that the actress who plays Emily is, like, really finally hitting her stride. Like, she's very recognizable. She's been in a ton of stuff. But most recently, she was in Yellow Jackets, which is really popping off.
Yep.
Melanie Lynskey. She might be from New Zealand, but
okay.
Yeah, because, like, she got her start in, like, Peter Jackson stuff. Yeah. It's just, like, unclear to me because it's such a slight accent even in here, and at one point, Lassie refers to her as the Kiwi assistant, which is a reference to her being from New Zealand.
That makes sense.
But it was such a slight accent that I was like, is it going in and out? Is it just a very, like, subtle accent? Is it a choice? Like, I couldn't figure it out, and I didn't Google it before now. So
Sean and Gus are in the psych office, and Sean is like, this Emily Bloom, we need to figure out who she is. And Gus said, I think she wrote, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, and Freckle Juice. Sean's like, I think that was Judy Bloom.
Are you going to bring anything useful to the table, Gus, maybe?
Which is a perfect segue to a Stripes and Plaid moment. Sean is being the focused working partner in this scene, and he's in stripes.
Gus, meanwhile, is in, like, Technicolor paisley.
Yes, for sure.
Also, at the party at the beginning, there was a ton of stripes. We're getting hideous striped sateen shirts throughout this episode. I didn't bother writing them down. They're background people, but they're all hideous.
Gus has turned into a model and is, like, staring at himself in the window while Sean is trying to figure this out. This is when we find out that Emily was a VP, but they treated her like she was their assistant. That's what I call motive. And then Chief Vic calls Sean. This scene, I'm not gonna go too much into it, Kay, but you can, but there's just, like, upbeat elevator music playing in the background. It's just like, dun, 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 dun. Chief Vic wants to know what's going on with Henry and Sue. Henry wants to know where he should take Sue because he finally called Sue and they want to go on a date. Sean doesn't want to talk to either of them. Sue calls Chief Vic because, oh my gosh, he finally called. He left me a message. Of course he would. And it's just the four of them on a phone call, one back to another. Finally, they end up, Chief Vic and Sean, back on the phone together. Elevator music is still playing, and Chief Vic ends with, now stop messing around and go find me a killer. Goodbye.
Yeah, it was a weird little interlude, but it's just everything that Sean doesn't want to be dealing with.
Yep.
And then Chief acting like she didn't even try that. She's also focused and stuff.
Ending with another thing that he doesn't want to deal with, which is Gus in this new shirt and his boxer shorts standing in front of a mirror.
Lavender boxer shorts.
Sean said, "How is it possible that I'm the only sane person in the universe right now?" And then he notices the shirt that Gus is wearing. Gus said it's part of Gregor's new fall line.
Yeah, Berlinda's gonna get him into the show. He's enunciating really weird in this scene. It feels very Derek Zoolander to me.
Yeah, for sure.
She's going to get me into the fall line.
That's when Sean realizes that it was not Gregor's design. It was Emily's design.
It's one of the ones he saw.
Gregor and Ciaobella have been stealing these designs from Emily for a while now. Sean's like, "I got this. Would you please put some pants on?" Okay, tell me about Emily Bloom.
Bloom. Oh, she is from New Zealand. Yes.
Okay, there we go.
She is. And she's married to Jason Ritter.
Who's that?
He's an actor.
Okay.
I believe. Hold on. Hold, please. I always wondered if he was related to John Ritter.
Oh, they're a super cute couple.
Aren't they cute? But I don't think
them.
he is related to John Ritter, which always makes me surprised because he kind of looks like him, right? Is he?
They're super cute together. Also,
adorable.
I think Melanie Lynskey could play Karen Kilgariff in a real-life movie of...
But she has such a sweet voice, and, like, Karen has such a great, like, comedic voice.
This is true.
Not that Melanie Lynskey isn't hilarious if she wants to be, but...
We end up on a date with...
It is John Ritter's son! Sorry.
Oh,
it wasn't on the page.
Who's John Ritter?
Three's Company.
Oh, that makes total sense. They look so much alike.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, there's no way they're not related, but it wasn't on the list.
We end up on Henry and Sue's date, and Henry is just kind of taken aback because Sue's demeanor has changed completely. First, she pulls out a six-pack of tall boys and said, "BYOB, right?"
He's like, "I'm not sure." She goes, "Let me make myself a little more comfortable," and takes off her cardigan, and she's just all cleavage.
Boob.
Just cleavage. And
That's
I just
better,
wrote,
don't you think?
I just wrote, "She's minxing," because his first words are, "They actually do a really good fish and chips here. Like, they actually do." And she's like, "I've been craving meat lately." And she's British, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The episode cuts back to the Santa Barbara Police Department, and the first thing we see is Lassiter throwing a bag from, like, Ties R Us.
Yeah, the tie shop. He just, like, chucks it so that nobody sees him carrying it.
And then, as my captions put it, some sexy music starts to play.
Bow, 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 bow.
Enter Juliet, and
it's a full look.
Oh, she is dressing to arrest. It's legit.
And so here's the thing I loved about this scene. It starts at her feet and it moves up, but it doesn't like linger on boobs but it didn't feel male gazy to me. It was just like, ooh, fashion.
Yes, very much so.
And all the guys are like jaws dropped. Like,
yes.
What is happening in the precinct right now?
So many dropped jaws, which is the perfect thing because, in fact, Chief Vic said, "What happened to you?"
And Juliet said, "Well, I'm a woman and I'm deciding to dress like it and I feel good about myself." And Lassiter goes, "You can't do that, O'Hara."
I spent my own money on it and I did it during my lunch break.
Also, is that a new tie? Also, and I wrote, is that Gus's tie from Cloudy with a Chance of Murder?
It sure looks like it.
The texture.
Yes. Juliet is certain that Emily is not the killer. She just
she
doesn't
would
have
bet
it
the farm on it.
Sean starts to have like a little psych out moment where he's like, "Oh, I see them stealing her designs." And then we find out that Ciaobella was poisoned. They found arsenic, soy milk, and green superfood powder in her stomach.
And Sean says, "I think the bad news, Juliet, is you just lost the farm." But he's not happy about it. Like, you know.
Yeah, he doesn't want Emily to be the killer either, really.
Back to Henry and his date.
"Would you like to butter my biscuit?"
Or, "Would you like me to butter your biscuit?"
That's it.
She was buttering her biscuit at that moment. And he's just holding a fry and he just like looks up at her all dazed. She leans over the entire table, boobs first, and bites the fry in his hand. And then, now tell me, this isn't better than some flaky piece of fish. And gives him, like, the most outrageously large piece of steak off her fork.
Henry drops a fork on the floor and's like, oh, let me go get it. And he gets a new fork and calls Sean.
So they're at the studio.
She's like a carnivorous minx. She wanted to eat me right here on the...
And he's cut off by a minx attack.
For sexy time in the bathroom.
Sean's on the phone at the studio where Jules is like, I protest. And he's like, well, that was weird. And then they go up and the whole place is dark and all you hear is a sewing machine, which is kind of ominous, but clearly there's nothing going on here. So they walk in and Emily is like dead in her chair, except...
So, Sean, you still think she's our killer?
And then she gasps back to life.
And they all freak out.
Cut to the hospital.
Emily is stable. They pumped her stomach. They are sending it to the lab right now to check for poison.
Sean is at her bedside, and Emily's waking up, and she's like, what is going on?
I can't remember anything after dinner.
And he asked what she had.
She had a superfood smoothie and some tofurkey jerky. And
he's like, oh no. And she's like, what? I was really hungry and I just wanted something quick. And she's like, no, I don't. My name is, I'll be back. I'll come back. And she's like, I'd like that.
Yes. That was the other like flirty moment that I thought they had.
It was cute. Because he has like this, I called it a psych out, but he has like this realization.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I wanna tell you things. I must leave now. Bye for now, soon. Bye.
So they go to the, like, memorial for Ciao and Gregor, which is at the same club where Gregor died.
It's so weird, this episode. So Sean's spitballing as he and Gus walk in, and he's like, I'm right on the second and third house. And then in the background, we hear this projection of Gregor and Ciao. It's like, but few people know that they were actually married 2 years earlier in a small private ceremony in this place. That kind of perks Sean up because he goes, wait a second, today would have been their 10-year anniversary. That's a benchmark anniversary in California. It means that at that point, all the assets will get split down the middle if there's a separation.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah, so Sean is like, I know part of it. Maybe even 2/3.
Gus does not want anything to do with that. He's like, you cannot just go up there and wing it and blow our cover. That's not how we operate.
Have you not been here for the past 2 years?
Trivia comes on again, and they're talking about Ciao craziest design where she used lights all over this dress to make like a big splash with the dress. And Sean goes,
I definitely know 2/3.
This is a doozy. And Sean runs up on the stage.
Lassiter and Juliet.
I like Lassity. That's Lassiter and Juliet together.
Lassiter and Juliet are there. Sean is like, you can stop the projection or just keep going. And then he psychs out fully. And he confesses that his name is not actually Black. And he's not a model. He and Gus are actually detectives.
You're not a model?
Yeah, Berlinda's like over it with Gus all of a sudden.
Gus tries really hard to get back to it though. He's like, I'm only a detective part-time and my full name is Tangus.
Ew. So
Belinda runs away.
Yes, she does. And Sean goes, Ciao was murdered by Uveshtieb. And Lester's like, no she wasn't.
That doesn't make sense.
First. And then Sean says,
do I come down to your office and tell you how to do your job?
Oh, yeah. Never mind. Anyway, she was bulimic. She couldn't hold anything down. That's why it was controlling the poison and she just wouldn't die.
Her superfood smoothie powder had been poisoned by arsenic. Her bulimia was stopping the arsenic from kicking in and murdering her.
She found out that Uveshtieb was having an affair. And the reason that he was poisoning her was because he didn't want to stop his affair, but he didn't want her to find out because then she would get half of everything if they broke up. So he was trying to kill her. And then she knew about the affair.
Was wait and keep his mistress away from the superfood smoothies.
His vampire mistress.
Oh, that's what he calls her.
Sigrid, runs off wailing again. But she knew about the affair, and she decided to get her own revenge for it, so she set up the electric she tampered with it on the mic to make it kill him because she's so talented with electrical stuff.
The models' faces, while this is going on, are just priceless. They're just everywhere. They're shocked and in awe, and then the music cues while Sean is doing this are
and the wind machine.
Yeah, they're half mystery machine, half catwalk music. And
he's posing, and he's flailing dramatically but stylishly.
Juliet just takes Sean's thunder and screams, "Oh!" And then Emily drank the poison on accident.
Do I really? Just throwing it out there, just willy-nilly? She's like, I'm sorry.
Yes, she drank the poison, but not before she designed the new fall line. We all deserve to feel beautiful.
Yeah, he says it's a revelation. M was caught in the green powdery crossfire. Everyone's really disappointed and mad at Sean about the truth and how, not satisfying it is.
Lassiter's mad he doesn't get to arrest anyone. You couldn't put that in an email. And Gus is mad because there was no reason for Sean to bust Gus's cover with something that could have gone in an email.
Sean says, come on, that was the most stylish wrap-up ever. Which it was.
No, it was fantastic. And the music, I cannot get away with it. It's so funny. His stepping and sashing and posing and the music going back and forth. It was just such a good wrap up.
And also Sean definitely had to bust Gus's cover because gross. All of that was gross. He was acting gross. That woman was a gross personality. So
the last scene is Sean walking into Henry's house. And Henry is wearing a black turtleneck.
Which he comments on immediately and asks him why he's dressed like Perry Como.
And then later on said, clearly you're about to go shoot an Old Spice commercial.
Henry confesses that he needed Sean to come there because he had a fun first date. Even though she sort of freaked him out at first, it ended up being really fun. Meaning, he got some. And he's gonna have a second date with her, and he needs Sean to just know and be chill because he just can't. But Sean says, are you going to a screening of Bullet tonight?
Oh my gosh, you have a hickey.
Ew, gross, you brought me here to show off your hickey?
And Henry does his angry Henry thing again, and he said, I just don't want to feel guilty about dating Sue. I just need you to know that I'm moving on. It's been long enough.
Yeah, Sean is I don't care what you do. It's none of my business what you do. Just don't make me witness it and be a part of it, and don't ask me about it and want to involve me. I don't want any part of that. And he tries to leave, and then he turns around and he goes, but unless you're taking her to Wayne Manor tonight, lose the turtleneck and let her admire her handiwork.
And remember, treat a woman like a person, then a princess, then a Greek goddess,
and then a person again. And we get the feeling that maybe that's Henry's rule that he taught Sean.
Yep, I'm certain. They both have these angry smiles. Of course we came to terms with it. Okay, it'll be fine. Smiles. And it's a very nice moment of mutual respect between the two of them.
Aww. Because Sean honestly can't not have an opinion.
Nope.
No pineapples.
Yeah, no. Even the internet was just skipped this episode. Nope, no pineapple.
Which is a crime of fashion.
That was perfect, Kaylee. Kaylee, that was perfect. I cannot follow it, so I'll just say, I'm Alexis, and not until midnight, Sean. I am Cinderella, and this is my ball. I'm not lifting a finger until my carriage turns back into a big A pumpkin.
And I'm Kaylee. Dude, that's just ridiculous anyway. Everybody look at my jaw.
And this has been
To the Blueberry! Psych out.